Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Unman Bhattacharya. Coming up in the next hour. Home Minister Ahmed Shah visits Pahalgam Terror Attack site, meets families of victims, reviews security in the Kashmir Valley. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh vows befitting reply to those behind the Pahalgam terror attack, says not just the killers, India won't even spare those behind the scenes. Indian agencies release sketches of suspected terrorists. A national investigation team reaches Pahalgam. Messages of support and solidarity pour in from across the globe. Leaders and governments condemn the Pahalgam terror attack. And Pope Francis's coffin kept at St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican City for public mourning. US President Donald Trump among world leaders to attend his funeral on the 26th of April. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held an emergency meeting with National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar at the New Delhi airport immediately upon his return from Saudi Arabia, as he took stock of the situation following the terror attack in Pahalgam that claimed 26 lives. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri was also present. The Prime Minister cut short his visit to Saudi Arabia and returned to India after the news of the terror attack. The Prime Minister has said that those behind the attack would not be spared. PM Modi is also likely to chair the Cabinet Committee on Security to discuss the situation in Pahalgam. Home Minister Ahmed Shah visited the Baisaran meadow where the attack took place. It is located around 5 kilometers from Pahalgam. The minister took a detailed briefing on the incident from the officers concerned. Home Minister Amit Shah paid homage to the victims by laying a wreath at a poignant ceremony in Srinagar. Minister Shah and Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha met the families of the victims of the terror attack. The Pahalgam attack is one of the biggest terror attacks in the Kashmir Valley in recent years. The Home Minister said that the culprits of this dastardly terror attack would be brought to justice. The Home Minister also visited the Government Medical College in Anantnag to meet the injured victims of the Pahalgam terror attack. The attack carried out by terrorists at the Baisaran meadow in Pahalgam on Tuesday is one of the deadliest in the valley since the 2019 Pulwama strike. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has warned of a befitting response to the Pahalgam terror attack. He made the remarks at the Arjun Singh Memorial Lecture in New Delhi.
हमारे देश ने अनेक निर्दोष नागरिकों को खोया है। इस घोर अमानवीय कृत्य से हम सभी गहरे शोक और दर्द में हैं। इस दुखद समय में दिवंगत आत्माओं की शांति के लिए मैं परमात्मा से प्रार्थना करता हूं। यहां मैं भारत के दृढ़ संकल्प को दोहराना चाहूंगा कि टेररिज्म के खिलाफ हमारी जीरो टॉलरेंस की पॉलिसी है। भारत का एक एक नागरिक इस कायरतापूर्ण हरकत के खिलाफ एकजुट है। मैं इस मंच से देशवासियों को आश्वस्त करता हूं, घटना के मद्देनजर भारत सरकार वो हर कदम उठाएगी जो जरूरी और उपयुक्त होगा। भारत एक इतनी पुरानी सभ्यता और इतना बड़ा देश है जिसको ऐसे किसी भी आतंकी गतिविधियों से किसी भी सूरत में डराया नहीं जा सकता। ऐसी हरकतों का जिम्मेदार और इसके जिम्मेदार लोगों को आने वाले कुछ ही समय में जोरदार तरीके से नजर आएगा। मैं देशवासियों को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं।
Earlier, Minister Singh held a meeting with the chiefs of the three armed forces in New Delhi to discuss the security situation. In a strong response to the recent terror attack in Pahalgam, India's Minister of Tourism has condemned the cowardly act, stating that a few elements are once again attempting to revive separatism and terrorism in Kashmir through their malicious intentions.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, माननीय गृह मंत्री जी दोनों ने जिस तरह से कल वक्तव्य दिया है और प्रधानमंत्री जी अपना दौरा छोड़ करके बीच में लौटे हैं, गृह मंत्री जी अपना सब कार्यक्रम स्थगित करके सीधे श्रीनगर पहुंचे, उनका वक्तव्य और उन्होंने जिस तरह से इसको रिस्पॉन्ड किया है, ये भारत के और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के आतंकवाद के प्रति जीरो टॉलरेंस नीति का स्पष्ट परिचय देता है। और जैसा प्रधानमंत्री जी और माननीय गृह मंत्री जी ने अपने वक्तव्य में सीधे सीधे कहा है कि ऐसी कायरतापूर्ण घटना को अंजाम देने वाले प्रत्येक व्यक्ति को इस कृत्य के लिए कठोरतम दंड मिलेगा, इसको सुनिश्चित करेंगे।
Indian security agencies have released sketches of 3 suspected terrorists involved in the attack. A national investigation agency team has reached the attack site. The Jammu and Kashmir police has joined the investigation. In the wake of the tragic terror attack, Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu said that the government has given strict instructions to airline companies to avoid any fare surges. Fares are being monitored and kept at reasonable levels. He also said that all airlines operating from Srinagar have waived off cancellation and rescheduling charges to support passengers. On Wednesday, the Kashmir Valley observed a complete shutdown for the first time in 35 years to show solidarity with the victims and survivors of the terror attack. Organizations from all walks of life supported the call for a shutdown as a mark of protest. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has called an all-party meeting tomorrow in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack. DD India's Vishal Baristo reports from Srinagar.
Kashmir has erupted in anger and anguish against the dastardly terror attack. Black flags at the historic Lal Chowk in Srinagar, perhaps symbolic of the black day that befell the valley on Tuesday as the attack killed 26 tourists in Pahalgam. Traders across the Union Territory have called for a complete shutdown on Wednesday. The Chamber of Commerce and Industries Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir Hoteliers Club, all travel associations, transporters, restaurant owners and civil society groups jointly called the shutdown. Business communities in Poonch, Jammu and other places also observed shutdown.
कल पहलगाम में बहुत बड़ा इंसिडेंट हुआ है। हमने आज प्रोटेस्ट किया है, जो भी उसमें मुलविस है उनको सख्त से सख्त सजा दी जाए।
Residents are coming out in large numbers, raising slogans against Pakistan. They described the attack on tourists as an attempt to damage the image of Kashmir's hospitality. Tourists are also disappointed with the tragic developments. Some want to return home, while others want to complete the planned vacation.
We didn't feel any insecurity over there, and today also we are roaming very freely over here.
We are staying in Srinagar. We are going to Gulmarg tomorrow, and then Gurez, and then local sightseeing again Srinagar.
Meanwhile, the front pages of Kashmir's leading newspapers went black, a stark visual protest against the brutal terrorist attack in Pahalgam. The coordinated editorial blackout served as a collective cry of anguish and a call for accountability after one of the deadliest attacks in the region in recent years. Vishal Baristo's report from Srinagar for DD India.
India's External Affairs Ministry has said that the US Vice President J.D. Vance has spoken to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and expressed his condolences. Posting on X, spokesperson said Vice President J.D. Vance called Prime Minister Narendra Modi and strongly condemned the dastardly terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir. He conveyed his deepest condolences on the loss of lives and reiterated that the United States stands with the people of India in this difficult hour. PM thanked Vice President Vance and President Trump for the messages of support and solidarity. Prime Minister of Mauritius also extended his condolences over the loss of innocent lives. MES spokesperson said Prime Minister of Mauritius called Prime Minister Modi and offered his deepest condolences on the senseless killing of innocent people in the terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir. He strongly condemned the cowardly terror attack. He expressed support and solidarity with the people of India in this hour of grief and stated that the two countries remain united in the fight against terror. Earlier, US President Donald Trump, Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli spoke to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and condoled the loss of innocent lives in the Pahalgam attack. Russian President Vladimir Putin, Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also reiterated their support for India's fight against terror. DD India's Ayushi Bhatnagar reports.
Leaders from across the globe have strongly condemned the terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir and reiterated their unflinching support for India. US President Donald Trump spoke with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and expressed his deepest condolences at the loss of innocent lives. Earlier, Trump reiterated support for India in its fight against terrorism. In a letter to President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Modi, Russian President Vladimir Putin also expressed condolences over the Pahalgam terror attack. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres strongly condemned the attack on tourists in Kashmir. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen also condemned the killing of people by terrorists in Kashmir as a vile terror attack and added that India's spirit is unbreakable. Extending condolences to the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack, Israel Foreign Minister Gideon Saar said that Israel stands united with India in the fight against terror. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Muslim World League Secretary General Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Karim Al Issa also condemned the ghastly terror attack in J&K's Pahalgam. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayake and Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli condemned the terrorist attack and expressed their solidarity with the nation. Ayushi Bhatnagar's report for DD India.
DD India's Shabir Dar joins us live from Srinagar for more. Shabir, what is the latest in terms of the search operation for terrorists, investigations and also security review by authorities?
Yeah, as you speak, the search operation in Pahalgam and Baisaran area is going on. The additional deployment of troops has been, there. Deployment of surveillance equipment like drones and other modern technology is there, and sniffer dogs have been trusted in to see that the terrorists which is believed to be hiding somewhere in the forest area of the Baisaran, because since this this incident happened yesterday, the entire area has been cordoned. Today the 5-kilometer radius of the area is under security cordon, and so security agencies believe that the terrorists have no route to flee from that forest. So it is believed that they might be hiding somewhere deep into the forest. So that is why this, the heavy combing and search operation is going on. The sniffer dogs are being, deployed, and modern, technology has been trusted to ensure that the terrorists behind this heinous attack on tourists are, either neutralized or trapped or captured. So this is the strategy of the security forces right now in Baisaran. With this, that the security agencies are going to into this operation on the multiple fronts. We have seen that the sketches of the terrorists have been leaked to the media by the security sources. So now it is clear, as we know, that the elitist group has claimed the responsibility of this attack, and now the security agencies know who are the people who carried this dastardly attack. So obviously the effort is on to nab them and take them to the justice, as is the demand of the people from across the country, and particularly from the people in Kashmir. Because this time around we have seen the unprecedented pouring of grief and condemnation from the local people, be it the politicians, be it the trade body leaders, and the common people, be it the students. And today, for the whole day, we have seen massive protests happening across Kashmir, be it the historical Lal Chowk in Srinagar, be it the Gurez, be it Kulgam, be it Bandipora, Pulwama, everywhere. People are coming out and protesting against this, because they are seeing that this attack is not only the attack on the tourists. This attack is actually what people say is attack on their livelihood, because tourism is the mainstay of Kashmir economy, and lakhs of people are getting their livelihood, jobs, and sustenance from tourism. So obviously, incidents like these definitely act as a disruptor, and people there will be a disruption in the tourism sector in Jammu and Kashmir post this attack. So now people are demanding that that the people behind this, their people their supporters, the people who have planned this, should be brought to the the book, and strong message should be sent to those who are actually the people across the border who are behind these attacks. Strong message should be sent. So in this regard, we have seen already that the Home Minister was here last night. He chaired the important review meeting, and today he went to Pahalgam also and interacted with the family members of these people. So obviously,
yes. Shabir, the J&K government, we know, has also called an all-party meeting in Srinagar tomorrow. Is it a reassertion of India's united response to the dastardly terror attack? So that was Shabir reporting from Srinagar on the Pahalgam terror attack and the investigations that have followed. Also, DD India's Vishal Baristo is joining us from Lal Chowk in Srinagar. Vishal, is the groundswell of solidarity only getting stronger in the valley for terror victims?
Well, absolutely. A very good evening to you, Munmun. But before I answer to your question, let me tell you that an operation is on in the Uri sector of Baramulla district. It is called Operation Tikka. An infiltration attempt was countered by the Indian Defence Forces, and the operation is still on. Now, coming back to a question, there have been protests here at the Lal Chowk. The voices are growing louder and louder. I have two different segments of the society. One is a social activist and another one is a tour operator in Kashmir. So let's start off with the lady who is a social activist. What do you have to say on this terror attack? It's been almost 24 hours now.
It has been now 24 hours, and we are, as Kashmiri, we are right now in shock. We are in trauma that from last 10 years now we were at the road of development. Business was developing, everything was going very smoothly. But yesterday this gruesome attack has made us very much shameful right now. This is a shameful act on the humanity. This is not Kashmir. This is not Kashmiri. Kashmiris will never target a tourist. Kashmiris will never target a guest who has come here with his families, who has come here with the colleagues, who has come here to spend some time, quality time, and we are really in shock. And we as a society are solidary with all the victims and the families out there.
You are saying that this is not the hand of Kashmiri. So who is it behind? We know that there is a state-sponsored terrorism from across the border.
See, I can say it's the people who don't want peace in Kashmir, who don't want a local to run their business, who don't want locals to be here to earn their livelihoods, to be at the path of peace. There are people who don't want these things. They are definitely disturbing, and they are giving a wrong message that it's Kashmiris. Kashmiris are never like this. Kashmiris are since yesterday. Kashmiris are on roads. Kashmiris are with all the tourists who have been in Kashmir from last 2 days, 3 days, or coming today also. All the people are along with side by side with them, with all facilities. Some are giving them breakfast, others are offering water, others are offering snacks, other hoteliers are offering accommodation, tourist vehicles are offering them that they are safe with us. People are with them. Everybody is people from all the walks of society are here in solidarity with these tourists, and because we believe in that Kashmir is a heaven, and we believe in that every guest are our guests. They are our family members.
Absolutely, our family members. But after a successful G20, when Kashmir was on road to development, this thing has happened. And I have with me a gentleman who is also a tour operator. He says that we have lost trust. What does it mean?
It's a very tragic incident that had happened yesterday. Yes, we have definitely lost the trust. We have lost the trust of the people of the country, or the trust of the guests, because whenever there is anything progressive going on, and it's because we are the we can say we are the connection between the tourists and our state and our UT for the rest of the country. If any tourist is willing coming here in this part of the country, we are the main people who facilitate their stay. We provide them the transport, we provide them that trust that they are home away from home. But unfortunately, the yesterday's event have overshadowed that, and it will be very hard for us to come out of this trauma.
Well, absolutely, it would be very hard for you. But how do you plan to overcome this trauma? Because we cannot let nefarious design of the enemy to overpower us.
Yeah, absolutely, it is not within our hands. It's in the hands of the common masses. It's in the hands of the country. And the countrymen has to believe us again. They have to trust us. They have to show their solidarity with us, because it's not just because of money, or it's not about the economy, or it's not about the business that every Kashmiri is on the roads right now. It is that we are because of the humanity. We have gone through all these things throughout last 3 or 4 decades. So every Kashmiri has a story of this pain, of this agony that we have gone through. So this is not the matter of finances. It's not a matter of, again I'm saying, it's not an economic imbalance that we are talking about, but this is an issue of humanity.
So there you heard, Munmun, this is not only the economic issue, it is not only financial issue, it's an emotional issue. And on humanitarian ground, these people have come out in large numbers, in large groups, and they have been protesting this dastardly attack on the tourists here in Pahalgam. Munmun?
Yes, Vishal, also the Defence Minister has said that not just perpetrators, India won't even spare those who were behind the scenes. You're also expecting a press conference by the Ministry of External Affairs to know more details. What are you picking up from your defence sources?
Well, let me tell you that after this terror attack, the Air Force and Indian Navy have been put on high alert, and they are guarding the borders. They are keeping a close eye, vigil on the borders, and the security forces within the state of Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir. I'm talking about the military intelligence, the CRPF, which is the Central Reserve Police Force, the Border Security Force, and also the Jammu and Kashmir Police, who are responsible for the safety and security inside the Indian territorial borders, are also on the vigil. But as far as the international borders are concerned, the BSF in particular, along with the Air Force and the Navy, have been asked to stay on high alert. So India will respond according to what the Defence Minister has said. In what way? Well, we have to wait and watch. But as far as the Kashmiris are concerned, as far as the people of Kashmir are concerned, they all stand united, and unitedly they have opposed and they have protested this attack on the tourists, because they know what it means, because they have themselves suffered the pangs of terrorism. Munmun?
Yes, also Vishal, we know that the J&K government has called an all-party meeting at around 3 p.m. in Srinagar tomorrow. A letter has been written and issued by the Chief Minister's office in Srinagar. Again, is it a reassertion of the united stand of people from all walks of life, particularly the polity?
Well, absolutely, because this is no time for politics. All the political parties and their ideologies have to be on the same page, because this is the question of the unity of Jammu and Kashmir. And as I speak to you, the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir has also called a high-level meeting. He is chairing a meeting with the chiefs of the security forces here in the valley, and they all are of one voice, talking in the same voice, in the same tone, that we all need to stand together, stand united. We cannot let the enemy overpower us. We cannot let the people or those who are against the progress of the country. Remember, India is the fifth largest economy in the world and fast on way progressing towards becoming the third largest economy. So we all need to fight this together, and you heard it right. The Chief Minister has written a letter to all parties that let's sit together and let's find out a way out of this mess, because it is quite a blot on the peace and tranquility of Jammu and Kashmir. Munmun?
Vishal, also if there is any update on the investigation front, some reports have come in of an encounter that has taken place between terrorists as well as the security forces. Are you picking up anything on that?
Well, Munmun, operation is still on in the Uri sector of Baramulla district. It is called Operation Tikka. This is all what we hear from the Indian Army, and the infiltration attempt was made even within 24 hours of this dastardly attack. So the enemy across the border knows it very well, how to keep the security forces engaged, and they are up in arms. But India is not giving in, and India will not give in to somebody who has always betrayed the people of Kashmir, to somebody who has always betrayed the trust of Kashmir. And yes, we are all prepared. You heard the Defence Minister making it very clear that India is prepared for any action, and revenge is on the card.
Reporting on the investigations as well as the security operations that are currently underway after the Pahalgam terror attack. We know that Union Home Minister Ahmed Shah had reached first Srinagar and then Pahalgam, and he's also taken stock of the security situation there. Security review meetings have also taken place there. Well, we'll leave it at that. Vishal Baristo reporting from Srinagar. US Vice President J.D. Vance on Wednesday condemned the Pahalgam terror attack and vowed that the US is ready to provide all assistance to India.
Here at Lal Chowk, I have a group of tourists. They are from Gujarat, Surat, and let's talk to them. How do you feel, because you are here at Lal Chowk? Are you sure that you want to stay back, or there is some kind of anxiety?
We didn't feel any insecurity over there. And today also we are roaming very freely over here.
How has been your experience with the locals, because they have offered all kind of help?
They are very cooperative, and they helped us to each. In each and every hotel, they were allowing us to go in the washrooms. They had even served very well in each and every hotels also. And the people over here are also very cooperative.
So what is your plan? Will you stay back in Kashmir?
We will go back.
So what is your schedule from Srinagar? Do you plan to move out, or you will stay in Srinagar only?
We are staying in Srinagar. We are going to Gulmarg tomorrow, and then Gurez, and then local sightseeing again Srinagar.
So there you heard from these people that the indomitable spirit of the Indians of the United India is here. You can see they want to stay back, and they want to tell the terrorists that they are not to be cowed down. Such kind of act, inhuman act, will not disturb them, because they stand united along with the people of Kashmir.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. With peace talks on Ukraine downgraded, Kremlin says that there are many nuances around Ukraine talks and positions have yet to be narrowed. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appears before a court to testify in a long-running corruption trial.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
I always believe a good story with the right vision can break boundaries. RRR proved that with the applause it got in the US market, in the Japanese market. World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit, Waves, is exactly doing that now, taking Indian entertainment global. So grab your seat, the adventure begins.
Connecting creators, connecting countries. Waves 2025. Bharat welcomes the world to a new era of creativity. Waves, World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit, as Mumbai hosts the global stage for creativity and innovation. Connecting creators through Creatosphere, where emerging voices rise. Wave Accelerator, where ideas meet global investors. Waves Bazaar, a global marketplace for content. Connecting countries through global media dialogue and industry roundtable. Bharat Pavilion, capturing India's rich history of storytelling.
वेव्स के रूप में भारत एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म बनाने जा रहा है जिसमें दुनिया के एंटरटेनमेंट लैंडस्केप पर उसको बदलने की क्षमता होगी.
From culturals to cinema, gaming to animation, fueling the next wave of entertainment. Connecting creators, connecting countries. Waves 2025.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Munmun Bhattacharya. US Vice President J.D. Vance on Wednesday condemned the Pahalgam terror attack and vowed that the US is ready to provide all assistance to India.
I want to just, of course, issue our condolences to the people of Kashmir who were affected by this terrible terrorist attack. The President's already spoken with Prime Minister Modi. I believe I'll be speaking with him later this afternoon. And obviously we're providing whatever assistance and help we can provide to the government, to the people of India. But
Kashmir Valley observed a complete shutdown over the brutal killings of tourists in the Pahalgam meadows for the first time in 35 years on Wednesday. The locals have shut down shops and protests. DD India's Vishal Baristo brings you this ground report.
I'm here at the Lal Chowk area of Srinagar. This area used to bustle with a lot of crowd, business and tourists. But because of the solidarity band, this is a quiet place. Now, as you can see, all the shops, they are closed here. There is no transaction, no business, no tourists to be found. But here there is something very interesting. Here it is airport free service. Now these people, they are giving free service to the airport. He is a shopkeeper, his business is suffering, and they are saying it's an attack on the Kashmirians. There is the clock tower, and it's quite a sad scene here because this is the epicenter of Srinagar. This is the place which signifies Srinagar. But today, because of the Bandh, there is a total different kind of picture here. People are very sad, they are angry. There is a kind of opposition, there is a kind of anger. And why not? Because this is the time when people of Kashmir, people of Srinagar, they would like to have a boom in their economy. This is the peak of tourist season, but sadly what occurred in Pahalgam has an effect over all of the state. With cameraman Mohit Uike in Srinagar, this is Vishal Baristo for TT India.
Shifting focus now, a deep sense of loss hangs over St. Peter's Basilica as preparations are underway for Pope Francis's funeral on 26th April. On Wednesday, his mortal remains were taken in a solemn procession from Casa Santa Marta to St. Peter's Basilica. Cardinals accompanied the open casket as it passed through St. Peter's Square, where worshippers gathered and applauded the late Pope. Meanwhile, security has been stepped up around the Vatican City. Metal detectors, X-ray scanners and a no-fly zone over Rome are all in place to ensure safety ahead of the ceremony. A Russian drone on Wednesday hit a bus carrying workers in the Ukrainian city of Marhanets, killing 9 people. The emergency services said that several fires broke out in residential buildings, warehouses and garages were damaged. Meanwhile, the UK government said that Ukraine peace talks, which were scheduled to take place in London on Wednesday, have been postponed. But a meeting of lower-level officials will still take place. On Wednesday, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky pushed back against calls for Ukraine to recognize Russia's control of Crimea. Earlier, US media reported that Trump is ready to accept recognition of Crimea as Russian territory.
As we start talking about Crimea, our sovereign territories, etc., we enter the format that Russia wants, a prolongation of the war, because it will not be possible to agree on everything quickly. Ukraine does not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea. There is nothing to talk about. It is outside our constitution. This is our territory, the territory of the people of Ukraine.
The Kremlin said on Wednesday there were many nuances around talks on finding a way to end the conflict in Ukraine. The Kremlin made its comments after talks between the US, Ukraine and European officials faltered on Wednesday as US Secretary of State Marco Rubio abruptly cancelled his trip to London and negotiations were downgraded. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Russia was continuing dialogue on a possible settlement with the US but was not in contact with Europe or Ukraine. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrived at the Tel Aviv District Court on Wednesday to testify in his long-running corruption trial. The Israeli Prime Minister has continuously denied any wrongdoing and has pleaded not guilty. He appears weekly in a Tel Aviv court to testify in the 2019 indictment in 3 cases involving gifts from millionaire friends and allegedly seeking regulatory favors for media tycoons in return for favorable news coverage. US President Donald Trump will be on a 3-nation visit to West Asia. Trump will travel to Saudi Arabia, Qatar and the United Arab Emirates from 13th to 16th May as confirmed by his spokesman Caroline Leavitt on Tuesday. It will be his second foreign trip since assuming office this January. The trip follows Trump's planned visit to the Vatican for the funeral of Pope Francis on Saturday. The trip aims to bolster US ties with West Asian countries, with Saudi Arabia being the country in focus as it was the first destination of his previous presidency back in 2017. Notably, the visits will come at a time when the US is engaged in nuclear talks with Iran and key discussions with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on trade and regional instability. 2 US judges on Tuesday extended temporary blocks on some deportations of Venezuelan migrants. They signaled that President Trump's invocation of a 1798 law may not survive judicial review. A U.S. judge wrote in a ruling that Trump's government must give Venezuelan migrants detained in Colorado a notice of 21 days in advance before any deportations under the Alien Enemies Act and must inform them of their right to challenge their removal. A judge in Manhattan appeared inclined to require the government to notify Venezuelans at least 10 days in advance before deporting them under that 18th century law. The Alien Enemies Act authorizes the U.S. president to deport, detain or place restrictions on individuals whose primary allegiance is to a foreign power and who might pose a national security risk in wartime. But U.S. President Donald Trump puts tariffs on most products the world exports to the U.S. His stated goal was to attract more investment in the U.S. and build up more manufacturing within the country. Some companies are adapting to that, including European pharmaceuticals. Lars Halter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin. Lars, what investments are you hearing about?
Thanks for having me. Well, the latest number I've seen is a pretty significant investment of 50 billion euros that Swiss pharma giant Roche is planning for the US. Now, Roche is the maker of many drugs used in cancer treatments or against virus diseases. The company is also a leader in diagnostics. Most people have probably at some point done a COVID test prepared by Roche, but mostly, of course, their technology is used in hospitals for molecular diagnostics or diabetes care. Now, Roche is the second European pharma giant to announce such a major investment following a 23 billion euro commitment by its main rival Novartis. Those two are following major multi-billion announcements made by Eli Lilly and Johnson & Johnson. Now, those two obviously are US companies. Now, there is a political background to all this. Pharmaceuticals have so far been excluded from tariffs, but the companies know that they're not sacrosanct. The Trump administration definitely has an eye on the sector. And I have to say, contrary to most other business sectors, when it comes to pharmaceuticals, the Trump administration actually has a point in criticizing them, especially when we're looking at Trump's favorite phrase of others ripping us off.
Right, Lars, is this all about higher pharmaceutical prices in the US then?
Yes, it is. And like I said, there is a lot of truth to that point. Pharmaceutical prices in the US are a lot higher than in the rest of the world. That's one reason why the US is by far the most important market for these companies. The other reason being, obviously, that it's also just a large market. For Roche, the US business is just over half of the entire company's revenue. For Novartis, it's 42%. And then there's the German pharma companies Bayer, Merck and Boehringer Ingelheim, who also see the US as their number one market. Now, Novartis has recently said, back when they announced their investment in the US, that they are looking at producing all their US drugs in country. So basically cut their exports to the US down to zero. And while I don't have numbers for Roche, the picture there is likely similar. Now, the companies, by the way, are saying that prices in the US are not high. They say they're fair. And that it's the high prices there that pay for their research and development. Still, we all know about how the U.S. healthcare system, drug prices included, is way too expensive. We know of personal bankruptcies in the sector and people not being able to afford medicine that would have been easily affordable elsewhere.
Thanks, Lars, for joining us. A powerful earthquake with a magnitude of 6.2 rattled Istanbul on Wednesday. This marks one of the strongest tremors to impact the city. The epicenter was near Silivri, west of the city, at a depth of about 7 kilometers. Following the initial quake, 3 aftershocks ranging from 4.4 to 4.9 in magnitude were recorded. Residents evacuated buildings. There were no immediate reports of casualties or significant structural damage, while one injury was reported after jumping off a balcony. Meanwhile, authorities are conducting field assessments and residents are urged to avoid entering potentially unstable buildings. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. 4 foreigners appeared in a Nairobi court on Wednesday for allegedly attempting to smuggle thousands of live ants out of Kenya. The suspects, two Belgians, a Vietnamese national and a Kenyan, had earlier pleaded guilty to charges of illegal possession and trafficking of live wildlife. The European Union has slapped hefty fines on tech giants Apple and Meta, marking the first penalties under the landmark Digital Markets Act. The sanctions follow a year-long investigation by the European Commission targeting big tech's market dominance and aiming to level the playing field for smaller competitors. Kawasaki has unveiled a futuristic concept called Leo, a ride-on robot lion designed for all-terrain mobility. Powered by a hydrogen-burning electric generator with motors in each leg, Corleo blends motorcycle, horseback and Segway-style control. Kawasaki believes this sci-fi-like machine could be a reality by 2050. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Tesla CEO Elon Musk to reduce the time he devotes to Trump's government and focus on running his companies. And India's April business growth hits 8-month high as export orders surge. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Munmun Bhattacharya. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has said that he would reduce the time he devotes to Trump's Department of Government Efficiency or DOGE from next month and will focus more on running his multiple companies. Musk said that he will cut back his role in the Trump government as the company's latest profits and revenues showed a plunge during the beginning of the year. China has hit
the
back.
large slug of work necessary to get the DOGE team in place and working in the government to get the financial house in order is mostly done. So I think I'll continue to spend, a day or two per week on government matters for as long as the president would like me to do so, and as long as it is useful. But starting next month, I'll be allocating far more of my time to Tesla.
China has hit back at the US, urging Washington, D.C. to stop threats and coercion if it truly wants a deal. Responding to President Trump's tariff remarks, the Chinese Foreign Ministry slammed what it called extreme pressure and labeled US tactics as unilateral, protectionist and economic bullying, warning such moves are losing global support.
If the US truly want to resolve issue through dialogues and negotiation, it should stop making threat and restoring to coercion and engage with China on the basis of equality, mutual respect and mutual benefits. Saying they want to reach an agreement with China while continuing to apply maximum pressure is not the right way to deal with China, and it will not work.
Back home, India's private sector growth rose to an 8-month high in April, fueled by robust demand, particularly a surge in foreign orders for manufactured goods, according to a survey. The HSBC Flash India Composite Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, compiled by S&P Global, climbed to 60, up from 59.5 in March, the strongest pace of combined manufacturing and services growth since August. The 50 mark separates growth from contraction. Manufacturing growth underpinned the strong performance, with the index rising to 58.4 from 58.1 and reaching a level not seen in a year. The services PMI index also showed solid growth, rising to a 4-month high of 59.1 from 58.5 last month. Higher new business in the services sector and an improvement in goods production and new orders, a key gauge for demand, especially from international clients, were the primary drivers of the overall positive momentum. The record surge in new export business, the strongest since the index was measured in September 2014, was heavily concentrated within the manufacturing sector, which registered the most significant increase in over 15 years. The 30th meeting of the Central Advisory Board of Archaeology was convened in New Delhi by the Archaeological Survey of India under the Ministry of Culture. The meeting was graced by the Minister of Culture, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, in the esteemed presence of Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha, Dr. Sumer Singh Solanki, Secretary of the Ministry of Culture, Vivek Agarwal, and several other dignitaries. The gathering served as a key platform for deliberating on the preservation, research and advancement of India's archaeological heritage.
जिस जिम्मेदारी के साथ में आर्कियोलॉजिकल सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया काम कर रहा है, उसके काम को और अधिक गति प्रदान करने के लिए और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की मंशा और उनका विज़न कि हम विरासत पे गर्व करते हुए विकसित होने की दिशा में आगे बढ़ेंगे, उस दृष्टिकोण को लेकर के इस 38वीं बैठक में, जिसमें देश भर के ऐसे प्रतिनिधि, फॉर्मर डायरेक्टर जनरल्स ऑफ ASI, नॉमिनेटेड मेंबर्स, रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स ऑफ स्टेट्स और सेलेक्टेड डेलीगेट्स जो आते हैं, उनके साथ बैठ कर के हम जो कुछ किया है उस पर और जो कुछ और कर सकते हैं उस पर विचार विमर्श करते हैं। पूरी दुनिया का भारत की तरफ देखने का नज़रिया बदला है। उस समय में इस बैठक का आयोजन, इस सलाहकार समिति की बैठक का आयोजन और अधिक महत्वपूर्ण हो गया है।
You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for all the sports action. Pat Cummins-led Sunrisers Hyderabad will take on Hardik Pandya's Mumbai Indians in the 41st match of the Indian Premier League on Wednesday. With only 2 wins in 7 outings, Pat Cummins' side is placed at the 9th position on the points table. The campaign has been riddled with inconsistency, especially in the batting department. On the other hand, Mumbai Indians arrive in Hyderabad riding high on momentum. After a shaky start to the season, the 5-time champions have bounced back emphatically with 3 consecutive wins. In the MI versus SRH clash, the players and umpires will be wearing black armbands in memory of the Pahalgam terrorist attack victims. KL Rahul surpassed stalwarts David Warner, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli to become the fastest batter to complete 5,000 runs in the IPL. Rahul accomplished the feat during Delhi Capital's 8-wicket win against his former franchisee, Lucknow Super Giants. Rahul scored 57 not out to break the backbone of Lucknow's defence of a modest 160-run target. He achieved the feat in 130 innings, surpassing former Australian opener David Warner, who took 135 innings. RCB's Virat Kohli slipped to the 3rd spot in the list as he notched up 5,000 runs in 157 innings. Zimbabwe secured their first Test match victory after 4 years as they beat host Bangladesh by 3 wickets on day 4 of the first Test match. Zimbabwe's last win came against Afghanistan in March 2021. This was the highest successful Test chase by Zimbabwe, adding another layer of history to the victory. Chasing 174 runs in the final innings, Zimbabwe's Brian Bennett and Ben Curran put together a 50-plus run partnership. Zimbabwe lost 7 wickets in quick succession, but in the end, Richard Garawa and Wesley Madhevere ensured that their team crosses the finish line. So those were the sports news stories on DD India News Hour. Right, these are visuals coming in of mortal remains reaching Karnal. Remember, there was a dastardly terror attack in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday. Navy officer Vinay Narwal was from Haryana's Karnal, who was killed in the Pahalgam terror attack. 26 innocent lives have been lost in that dastardly terror attack in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday. And since then, the entire nation is standing in solidarity with the victims, and not just the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and not just India. In fact, the whole world has expressed solidarity with India in this difficult hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had cut short his visit to Saudi Arabia. He had returned to New Delhi, and there he had held an emergency meeting with the National Security Advisor as well as India's Foreign Minister. And Home Minister Ahmed Shah had left hours after the terror attack for Srinagar, and later he went to Pahalgam. He also went to the terror attack site. The NIA has since joined the investigations. So the entire country is standing in solidarity with the victims of the terror attack in Pahalgam, and 26 people in fact have lost their lives in that terror attack. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that all those who are behind it will be brought to justice. That's it then in this edition of DD India News Hour. But do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Munmun Bhattacharya from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.